Let's go over the tools that I use for my handmade bags, just like these and like these. These are all leather, and these are all the tools. And if you want to know about the hardware, I'm gonna be doing another video for just the hardware. So let's start with the rulers. I use a lot of rulers because there are different shapes and sizes that you need to cut big pieces of leather to tiny pieces of leather. And this is a 36 inches steel ruler, and I use this to make straps. So what I do is I lay down my big piece of leather and I place this and I align them to my mat, and on the edges I'm going to use a clip, and I clip on the mat like that so my ruler doesn't move, which is a pretty good tip. So let's put that to the side. These are for more precise cuts that I need, especially if I have a piece of pattern made of paper that I want to cut on the leather. So I use this for a more precise cut. Then if I want thicker leathers but not too big, I use this one, which is a 6 inches by 6 inches or 5.5 by 5.5. It's a quilting ruler, but it helps. This one I use if I need a 2 inch, 2.5 inches thick strap. So I pretty much use all of my rulers, and then of course this one. And each ruler has its own purpose. And as you make your bags or your project, you will find which ruler is going to be more useful to you. The other thing that I use the most is the cutting mat. A cutting mat is very needed to protect your table, but also to guide you on the cuts and just to give you a nice surface to work with. This is a tiny ruler which tells you the seam allowance. I can align my needle, or I use this on my industrial machine. The needle doesn't move, so I use this, and then this little guy right here is a guide, and I attach this to my machine, and then the leather will be straight forward. And you can adjust this up and down with this little knob. This goes up, more thicker leather can go through, and you can close it out, and thinner leather will go through. So these two are also very nice tools to have, especially this one. The magnet is pretty good on this, and I like it. I've been using it quite a while. The next thing is, here are the zipper installment. This is an acrylic template. This is a number 5, 7 mm. So what I do, I cut the zipper where the zipper is going to go in my leather. Then I align this to make sure that the zipper fits nice and straight. So I use this a couple of times. It's very nice, especially if you want to do wings on a bag. The next thing is I always like to clean my leather, so I am using this Chemical Guys leather cleaner and then a leather conditioner. So those are the 2 months must, and then you just need something to wipe it off, like a microfiber towel and so forth. So I noticed that some of this may be a little too harsh on the leathers that I use, because I use upholstery leather, and those are tending to be for couches and furniture. So the leather has very little coating on it. So this may take a little bit of the paint, but I use the conditioner better. So if the cleaner is a little too harsh, then the conditioner also conditions and cleans. So I need to find a better one for cleaning my leathers. If you have a suggestion, please let me know in the comments. Next I have with me is a glass base. This is from a sauce, and in here I just put all the leftovers, like broken needles, broken rivets, or snaps that I don't use, or they're bended, or they're defective. Then I put it in here because then the needles are not going in the trash. And then once this is filled up, I close the lid and then I put this whole thing in the trash. It's just for safety. Okay. I also have a pen. This pen is, it erases with heat. So I use this for my upholstery fabric and any type of fabric, but I've been using on my leathers as well. There's a special pen that is kind of gel and you wipe it off, and people can see it better, but it's a lot more expensive, so I decided to use this and it still does the trick. Sometimes it may stain the leather, so you need to try it on the leather first in a tiny little piece that you're not gonna use and see if it wipes it off very easily. So far this has been working for me. Then you have these pliers. These are to, if you're using any type of cord around the bag or you want the edges to be very crisp, these I go around the edges of the bag and it flattens. So it's a flattened plier. I just got this and I haven't had a chance to use them, but you just want to make sure you put something soft in here. Don't use it straight on the leather, otherwise it's gonna make any some imprints. The next thing is uh, a lighter. Once you are sewing, uh, when I do, what I do is go back and forth to reinforce the endings, and then I tied with a knot the endings so the thread doesn't unravel. And then I use the lighter to burn the edges of the thread so they don't unravel. So, and you will use this a lot. All right. I also have these stools. These are for setting up snaps. You have a long tip, and then this one is kind of has a dome inside. So this is the male and this is the female piece, just like that. And how you do it is that you put a do a hole in the leather and then you put the snaps. Uh, that goes for this and then the other one for this. And I can show you how I use my snaps. The next thing is a rivet setter. This is where the base of the rivet goes and it has different sizes. And then this is what a rivet setter looks like. It kind of has like a dome on the inside, you see? Is a dome. And all you need to do is put your rivet on your leather and put the other one on top and then you will hammer it out. But I use a hand press that I can show you very soon. The next step is a rivet remover. And I think I should have purchased this a long time ago because it's so hard to take the rivets that were wonky. So all you do is put the rivet with the material on it, whatever will fit, and then you put this tip on the rivet in the middle and then you smack it and then the rivet just comes off so easily. So if you're going to be working with rivets, I really recommend you getting one of these tools. It makes it the work so much easier. I also have a hand presser. You can see right here, and this one is a hand press. I have two hand press. One has a press plate, and these are for my dies. Here are the die cutters that I have. And if it's just perfectly on this thing, I cut about 60 um, wallets with this little thing. And then it comes with an acrylic kind of mat, cutting mat. So your die won't get broken or the blades won't will be the blades will remain sharp. And then this one I have my hole puncher, and this hole puncher is great, and I feel like the hand press gives me a variety of uses because I can put my my snap setters in the drill bit, or I can put my rivet setters on the drill bit, or I can use my hole puncher in the drill bit. So it's pretty awesome. Um, the next step is I use glue. I use Aleene's tacky glue for things that doesn't need to have a lot of stiffness, because I'm gonna be sewing over it. So I just need something to hold it, but it's still very strong actually. If I put some type of interfacing within my leather purses and Aleene's is not as strong, then I use barge to make sure that it holds it permanently and it won't shift or it won't open later on. So I found out that when I have uh, stiffeners on the leather and I put them together, it tends to open up on the edges. So this one makes sure that it won't open. And then you can just do a nice edge painting. Next thing that I do is I use Tokonol, is a burnishing gum, and this is going on the edge of your project, if in case you don't want to use some type of angel dyes for leather on the edges. To finish up the edges naturally, you can use this and then burnish. um but I also use this in the back of the leather. If you have a lot of fussiness in the back of the leather, you totally can use this to make the leather very smooth. And especially if you're using wallets, sometimes it gets kind of stuck in there with the leather. So I use this to make sure the wallet can be easily drawn out of the card slot. And to make that shine looking in the back of the leather, when you use stuck on all, there is a glass slicker that you just do this in the back of the leather and spread it out. And this is going to make sure that the leather is, the toconol is spread out evenly. And actually, this will push within the fibers of the leather to make sure that it remains flat. This little piece right here, I don't know where I got this, but it really works on putting glue on the edges, and you just need to spread it out. So I use it on pretty much all my projects, just like a little mini plastic spatula. If you need to measure the thickness of the leather, this is a thickness gauge. I don't know how to pronounce that. Gauge. There you go. A gauge. And all you do is just you undo that, and then you put the leather in between and you press it, and it will tell you how thick the leather is. And this can help you with your patterns or with just to know the thickness, and how your needle and your thread needs to be, so that you know what thickness will work well, what needle will work well with the thickness of your leather. And then you just move the dial up and down to pretty much, how do you call it, to make sure that it is on the right place, which it should be at 0 when you press the two plates. So I haven't had the opportunity of using this a lot, but in some projects I did. Now this is like a leveler. um you use this to kind of um even out the edges of wood, but also can help you beveling the leather or skiving the leather. So I haven't given it a try yet, but let's see how it works. I don't know how it's gonna do with upholstery levels leather, because upholstery is very thin or very thick, or it can be very drapery or very firm. So we'll see how I'm gonna use this. You also need some type of mallet, especially when you're doing straps or when you are gluing your leather together. You want to give it a nice tap so it can start the bonding process. And I don't have a mallet. I found this though, and it works. This is a compass that I use in case I absolutely need to measure the edges of my leather of where the stitches are going to go. And I just go around my leather to measure how far would be the seam allowance. but I also have this ruler, and so far I've been using this ruler more than this. But this can also serve you to draw anything from the pattern into your leather. But it doesn't work on upholstery leather because it's too soft or it moves and shifts a lot. So this will work on more thicker, firm leather. Then you need to have some clippers to cut the threads of the sewing machine, or your threads if you're doing it by hand. I use a rotary cutter for doing straight lines. Um, and then if I have other more intricate design and cuttings that I need to do, I'm gonna use some of these knives. This is a knife set that I just got. It has some skivers. It has some sanding to sand around, and so the leather can adhere to itself when you put some glue, and then some more knives. Now, these are very, very sharp. It comes in a nice case, and I just kind of cut myself right here the other day, just stabbed my finger, but it really works. And if you want one of these, I recommend it. Then the next one is some Brooklyn iron. These are in case you want to do sewing by hand. You can put this in the drill bit also, and then just push and you make holes around your project, and then you can start sewing it. And I haven't used it yet, but especially I'm planning on using them on more on curves because I don't have a cylinder machine. I just have a flatbed sewing machine. So on the curves that needs more support, this is going to help me get that stitch strong. And then I just got some dies for wallets, and it fits underneath this plate, and it was a game changer. I should have got that a long time ago. So if you can get dies for your projects, that's awesome. Because I found it that using scissors or rotary cutter or knives, it's you really need a place that your leather won't move or shift. Otherwise, it will shift, and then you are close enough to miss that cut. Um, and you want to make sure you're precise. Okay, so these are all the materials that I use. The tools that I use for my leather pretty much every time that I make a project. And then on another time, I'll go over my hard way. Let me know if you have any questions, and stay tuned. Bye.